Dan.
There we are. Hello, everyone.
Dan, we're just a little short of quorum here, so we're not going to call the meeting to order until we have three more councillors, or one more councillor rather. But anyway, I guess we can start talking anyway. How have you been, and how are things in Victoria?
Well, I'm in Fort St. John right now, enjoying the northern heat wave that all of you are also enjoying. But I'm not complaining, because I know in 6 months we'll be complaining on the other side, saying it's too cold. So that's
absolutely.
Yeah. No, good. Looking forward actually to coming to Fort Nelson. I'll be there next week. I'm there Tuesday for meetings. Actually, I get in Monday night, and then I'll be there Tuesday catching up on a number of meetings that we've been trying to do, but with COVID, they've been pushed off. So looking forward to being in town, connecting with folks again.
Ms. McIver, we can't call the meeting to order then? We can?
You can call the meeting to order. You just can't adopt the agenda without quorum. But you can hold this as an informal meeting, but.
Very well. So I'm going to call this meeting to order then, Dan, and we'll continue on. Perhaps you could start by maybe giving us some outline here of the provincial government's upcoming COVID-19 orders or restrictions and how they're going to be lifted.
Yeah, well, I'll do the best I can. Of course, I've shared out, and the province has also shared out number of restrictions that are being lifted. I don't have the document right in front of me, but we are going to the third stage of lifting restrictions as of July 1st. I did have a meeting this morning. Actually, we had a meeting with Dr. Henry this morning, and everything is on track to be keeping up with the time frame that has been given. So it does look like July 1st will be a great day as we start moving toward the light at the end of the tunnel. And then, of course, September, I think September 7th is the next date that has been given for pretty much a resume back to normal. So things are looking good, but certainly as of July 1st, that's when large outdoor groups will be gathering. Indoor groups, I think, will be increased dramatically. Again, I don't have the numbers right in front of me. Travel restrictions, I know that the provincial government is working also with the federal government, looking at border restrictions. We also do expect those to probably be coming forth in some way, shape, or form in the coming weeks or so. But other than that, no, things are great. The vaccine rollout is, people are concerned that our vaccine rate is lower compared to the rest of the province, and it is. I've been speaking to a number of people as well. We need to make it easier, is what the government needs to do. And I've spoken with Minister Dix. I've talked to Northern Health. The 9 to 5 vaccine clinics, when we have a young population in the Northeast that tends to work industry hours, it doesn't work. And there are a number of drive-in clinics that are being talked about. I'm not sure where they are going to be. Hopefully they do get up to Fort Nelson. I will be certainly pushing that they have, again, making it easy is what it's all about. And hopefully we get our numbers increasing. So not much more to give on the COVID-19 update, though, Your Worship.
Okay, Mr. Davies, we do have quorum now, so I am going to ask for a motion to adopt the agenda. Moved by Councillor Gerwing, seconded by Councillor Souls. All those in favor? Carried, and we are in formal special council meeting. Councillor Gerwing, you had a question for Mr. Davies.
I do. Hey, Dan.
Hi there.
So a constituent showed me her vaccine card that she got after she was fully vaccinated. But apparently, the provincial government has left it up to the health authorities as to how and if they are going to release these kinds of cards.
Northern Health doesn't automatically issue these cards. And it's a real roundabout process for somebody to get the card that we are probably going to need to show that we've been fully vaccinated. So I'm wondering if you have any information on this, and if you don't, if you have any ability to advocate with the provincial government to make the process easier for residents to get their card.
Yeah, so here, and you're right. And I think this is where we often see that a number of the health authorities across the province doing their own thing. I've always been, there needs to be, I think, a lot more direction from the province. Vaccine cards are one. I know that we see some health authorities give that card. I'm sure you've all seen people sharing it on Facebook saying, I got my card. We did reach out to Northern Health, and I will read the response that I just got from them a couple of days ago. Immunization cards are not a standard provincial practice. It has unfortunately varied across the region, but regardless of the official record is found through the Health Gateway. In Northern Health, the COVID-19 vaccination report that we're using is an 8.5 by 11 yellow piece of paper that everybody should receive at the time of their immunization in Northern Health. This document reveals the type of vaccine the individual has received, the time of the immunization, the arm it was given, the date of immunization, name and signature, along with a date stamp. The back of the yellow piece of paper gives the symptoms to watch for and general symptoms, and talks about the reference for information to access the Health Gateway. So everybody in Northern Health should be receiving a official document that states the type of vaccine they've received. It should have all of that information on it. If they have not, please have them reach out to our office if they haven't already reached out to Northern Health, and we will try and make sure that that is done. As for the cards, it sounds like they have no intentions on doing the cards because they are doing this 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, this official document that has all the same information. So that's what we just got through. Got through Northern Health, and patients have access to their online records through Health Gateway as well, that they can print off information.
Right. And I mean, we got that sheet of paper when we got our vaccination shot, but there are these cards and they are available from the provincial government. But the process to get them done is very, very difficult. If you don't have an internet, you don't have a smartphone, then you are out of luck to get these cards. So I'm just wondering if there's any work that you can do to help advocate for residents of Northern Health that need a card. Like, for instance, I'm going to Manitoba in August. In order to go into an indoor restaurant, I have to present my card. So I would rather take a card that the province will give me, have that in my wallet, as opposed to carrying around my official documentation that I would hate to lose, right? So, yeah.
So
I won't belabor the
we did ask, we did ask for that. I will continue to ask again. Again, from what I understand, the cards are not from the provincial government; they're from the individual health authorities. But I will check on that and get back to you on that.
Okay, thanks.
Does anybody else have any questions for our MLA? So Dan, like you, I also brought up some points on the access to vaccines and how it would be better if instead of having clinics at odd times when people are working, it would be better if they had them after dinner and made them more available, like through doct's offices and drop-in centers. So, trying to encourage people to get their vaccines. I do note that Northern Health has our area as being, what would I say, quite under vaccinated. I think their numbers were about 60%. The numbers they're using for population, though, is outdated. They've got our population at something around 3,600, and I believe the true figure is probably closer to 25 or 3,000. So this skews the figure about the percentage of our population that's vaccinated. And I know just walking around talking to people, asking them how many people are vaccinated, I would say that we're at least at 3/4 is my feeling. I don't find very many people who are not vaccinated.
Yeah, and that is a good point to bring up, and I'll certainly mention that next time I talk to the ministry's office. You know, the provincial average, British Columbia is actually now leading the pack on the provincial average. I think we're approaching 80%. I think 78% was the number I heard today of vaccinated. So regardless, we still have work to do. But you know, I think a lot of it comes down to that easy access. Making sure that, you know, we're not running banker's hours and we have the ability to get people in to get these vaccines. The talk today, of course, is as we move into August, they will be looking at pharmacies now to give the general vaccinations and moving it into doctors' offices once the mass vaccine program is completed, which is, of course, wrapping up probably here in July and early August before they move into that, making it even easier for everybody to get the shot.
Yeah, and Dan, I already brought this up with Kathy Ulrich, and they just don't have numbers that are accurate for the population. So I don't know that bringing it up is going to accomplish anything. It's just they don't have the data. But it's, you know, to just show them that there is not a huge problem in the Northern Rockies here. I mean, of course, we'd like to have a shot in everybody's arm, but you know, 40 or 50% or 50% vaccination is something to worry about. But I think currently we are probably over that 75 mark. Councillor Gerwin.
Yeah, Jen, I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that Northern Health, through our public health office and by appointment, is running vaccinations. You're available. You can get your vaccination every Tuesday and Thursday evening throughout the summer. So I'm not exactly whether it goes till 7, I think. So yeah, so just so that you are aware of that.
Good to know. Thank you.
Anything else, Dan, that's happening in Victoria that we should know about?
Yeah, well, you know, and I just want to maybe touch base on the Electoral Boundary Commission, Bill 7, which has recently passed. Royal assent last week at the end of the legislature. Of course, maybe I'll mention that quickly as well. We are done in Victoria now. The spring session has wrapped up, and we won't return back into Victoria now until the first week of October is when the fall session starts. So that gives me now the opportunity to, like I say, come up to Fort Nelson, work in my constituency offices here in the Peace and do some outreach work. Bill 7, though, the Electoral Boundary Commission Amendment Act was passed. So the government now has until October to appoint a commissioner. This commissioner, the commissioner will be joined. There's 2 other people. 2 of them are appointed by government. 1 person is appointed by government with consultation with the opposition. And then they will be developing kind of a traveling roadshow, which they will go around the province. Hopefully, I should say, they're going to go around the province because I think it's important to see the whites of eyes on such a critical issue as they do travel. Zoom, as we can all attest, we're done. I think we're done with Zoom. We're done with Zoom town halls. We're done with Zoom meetings. I think you know, they work in some applications, but a lot gets lost in a Zoom meeting. So we are really hoping that come this fall, they will be doing actual tours. So once they get their tours done, that is where it's going to be really important for people to come out, present at the public meetings, talk about the impact of you know, the riding size already, let alone, you know, adding another third on top of it. You know, one of the interesting stories, and I'm sure all of you were glued to Hansard TV watching the legislature all the time. I'm sure all of you do that. really, I'm sure you don't, but one of my colleagues was in the legislature, and he was comparing the work of MLAs and we all do our jobs. We all have a critical role, but our jobs are different. My role is much different than an MLA who is a urban MLA that works in Vancouver. And I'll give you an example, and this is the example that he gave. He lives in Vancouver. He's one of our MLAs in Vancouver. He can walk across his riding in about 15 minutes, the entire riding. I think it's slightly less when he walks the other direction because it's a narrow riding. And he has a little bit more people than I represent in my riding. So that's the people aspect. In his riding, and this goes for most of the urban ridings in the Lower Mainland and Victoria, he does not have a provincial highway. He does not have a rural road. He does not have industry. He does not have agriculture. He does not deal with forest fires. He does not deal with flooding. He doesn't deal with the caribou issue. He doesn't deal with First Nations issues. He doesn't deal with backcountry access issues, guide outfitter issues, and the list goes on and on and on. And it really speaks to, again, how diverse this province is. We cannot treat the entire province with a cookie cutter approach saying, one MLA should represent 60,000 people and call it good, because that is not the case. The ability, and I just look at today, I've had eight meetings today, all very high-end provincial issues. And this is the day of me meeting with people reaching out to my office. And to limit that is not it, and as legislators and as people of British Columbia, at every turn, we need to be improving our democracy. We need to be improving our access of people to have access to government. And this Bill 7, should the final outcome come out the way it very likely will do the exact opposite of that. It will deteriorate what we have as a democracy in this province. So those are the big things that we're going to be working on. We've got many mayors and councils across the province, including yourselves, that have written government and said that this is not a good approach to take. We've got regional districts that are coming out. We've got chambers. All the chambers in pretty much north of Vancouver are concerned and are working on developing a plan to move forward. The number of different organizations across the province are getting together and to start talking about how do we present our case in rural British Columbia to make sure that this is heard on the commission. So even though the commissioner is appointed by government, it is an independent commission. So we need to make sure that they are hearing loud and clear at these public meetings that this is not the right direction to go. And that needs to be heard loud and clear all across the province as they start doing their tour. We probably won't see this legislation and the recommendations come back to the legislature till probably late spring of next year. So we have time, but it's going to come quick. And this is, again, it's absolutely concerning when you consider the riding of Peace River North could go as far as Mackenzie, down to McBride, and straight up where it does now up the Rocky Mountains. Just a massive riding. That would be like, and this was a comparison that was made by MLA Bernier in the legislature during committee stage. If someone from Muncho Lake needed to come and see me in Dawson Creek, as where maybe the office might be, depends. That would be like asking a constituent of David Eby, who this is his bill as the Attorney General. He lives in Vancouver Point Grey. It would be like saying to one of his constituents, yeah, I'd be more than happy to meet you. Just come to my office in Quesnel. Because it's the same distance. And Mike Bernier's was, how do you think your constituents would feel if that was where they had to go to engage with their MLA? And there was no answer. But that is the stark reality of the size of ridings that very likely could come out of this Bill 7. these massive ridings that are already big, but will become, 2 or 3 times the size that they are now. So it's a big concern. We're just getting started, and we have a lot of work ahead of us.
Okay, Dan, I had the pleasure of being on a Zoom meeting with the mayors of the North, with Val Litwin, who's running for leadership of the Liberal Party. And those same issues were brought up, including oil and gas and forestry, rail, and airports as well, which your colleague in Vancouver doesn't have to deal with either. So the list is very long about issues that affect your constituents, and we'll help carry that message to that commission when the time comes and when the engagement opportunity presents itself. We made the same arguments with last week. I made the same arguments with Charlotte Mitha of BC Hydro, and the differences in distance when it comes to staffing hydro in Fort Nelson. And I know you've written letters to that effect too to the minister.
So I'm not sure what the question was for, Your Worship.
No, there wasn't a question. I was just reiterating what we had done, in the same vein as what you're talking about.
Yes,
with the
okay.
commission and with BC Hydro making the case that things are different in the north, and they're different in rural ridings than they are in urban ridings.
Yeah.
So
sorry, go ahead.
So for instance, I mean, if someone in Surrey didn't have hydro, and say there was 3,000 people who didn't have hydro in Surrey, and it took 11 hours to get the electricity on, not because it was a part that had to come in, but simply they didn't have a crew available, things would change pretty quick with BC Hydro, and I'm sure the constituents there wouldn't put up with that either. So we've made that case as well, and we're hoping we are getting a meeting here with her and her staff again on July the 7th, and I'm hoping for a positive outcome.
Yeah, and one thing that I and I'm sure this will happen, but I will plant the seed in all of your ears, is to make sure that this is brought up at the NCLGA, and that it is also being pushed up into UBCM as things move forward. Because I think, and I'm sure this will happen. I've talked to other councils that have talked about it, but if everyone talks about it and says, "Oh, they'll do it," and nobody does it, we want to make sure that that it is being brought forward for discussion at all of the local government associations across the province. So,
okay. Are there any other questions for Mr. Davies? Councillor Souls.
Just regarding the electoral reform and the area-based ideas around it. I had the privilege of sitting across from one of the ministers a couple of years ago during the UBCM meetings, and one of the ministers, I actually explained to her that we already have a mechanism and nobody recognizes the mechanism for what it is. A mechanism that works in peculiar circumstances to keep the one rule, one vote, the one person, one vote mechanism from overriding lesser votes. And it's called the Right to Farm Act. It's very, very fascinating because the Right to Farm Act allows people in existing farmland who are very close to an urban center, who when they become surrounded by urban people and the urban people are tired of the smell of the horse or tired of the sound of the rooster or something like that, it allows that person to continue farming regardless of whether there's 10 votes around that one person's vote. It allows them to continue farming because they're on agriculture land and so on, and they have a right to farm. That's why it's called the Right to Farm Act. I think taking that principle already exists in BC. So let's get that really certain look at it. There's quite a bit of case law around that particular issue, and it's been tried, and it's proven to be solid, which has prevented larger numbers of votes from overriding a small number of votes that are in their little region. So we have whole regions in our province. I don't know a single person in all of the regions in the north and the northeast who thought it was a good idea to ban grizzly bear hunting. And when you see that that is something that's done arbitrarily with support of more votes than not, there's lots of votes in the urban world that would support an anti-hunting, grizzly bear hunting thing. What about the right to hunt? Think about the right to hunt or the right to live in a regional area based on that same principle. The fact is that we already accept a system that is not a one person, one vote equals decision, because these acts exist to protect regional groups. A farm in an area can't move. It's in its own region. It's regional. It's regionally protected against intrusion from other opinions. And therefore, we already have this in place. That's the way we can leverage that idea in the rural urban split. Anyway, my thoughts on that. Let's have a good chat when you're up here next in Fort Nelson.
Yeah, well, thanks, Danny, and I am there Tuesday, so just drop Kim a quick line there and pop up. You know, that's a really good point, and I just, as you were mentioning it there, I pulled it up, and I'll certainly be looking into it. We all know that we can't just look at one matrix. In fact, that's why the rural protection piece was brought in, you know, a few years back. In fact, even if we go back to 1955, that was when Peace River North was split from Peace River South, because even then at the time it was recognized this is such a vast area with multiple different pieces. You know, it's just too much, and you know, to undo that doesn't make sense. And a lot of it goes around, you know, what you're talking about, the right to farm, even the right to hunt. There is differences that need to be looked at, and protections need to be put in place.
Thanks, Dan. Are there any other questions for Dan? Councillor Souls?
I have a question. I'll just remind you of one of our conversations from a past era. And when the leadership campaigning was going on and Andrew Wilkinson was the leader, it was impossible to get him to come to Fort Nelson. And I noticed that in the last little while, we've had some really good visits from Ellis Ross coming to Fort St. John, and Mr. Falcon coming to Fort St. John, and others. But I actually get the feeling that we're in a bit of an embarrassment to the province, no matter how you look at whichever party we look at. We've sat here with no industry for so long, and no one seems to have a way to fix it, and no willingness to go to bat for it. And so they don't show up. And I'd like to hold your feet to the fire and say, how come? Drag these people up to Fort Nelson so that they can listen to us. We sit here with this resource basket. They all know that it's here. We all know that it's here. And yet we hear boo from the political machine, whether it's the Liberal Party or the NDP party. And I know that with the exception of your own work that you do, you represent us well. I say that very well. But these leaders need to come and visit us. We have a vision for the future for our area, and we don't even have a voice in apart from your own in that respect. We would like to make that point ourselves.
So that is a great point, and certainly appreciate it. In fact, I had a conversation with Mr. Ross yesterday, and brought this forward. I've been outreached. A couple of people saw the post that I had shared on my social media and reached out. Is he not coming to Fort Nelson? I spoke to Mr. Ross yesterday, and in fact, I'll be seeing him here again shortly. He has told me that he is planning to come to Fort Nelson in the near future. So he won't be up there on this trip, but what he's going to do is probably fly from Prince George and come over to Fort Nelson, which I'll probably come up and meet him anyway. So he is planning on coming up. I will mention it to all of the other candidates that are running. Of course, the plan is, I understand Val Litwin is planning to come up here, and others. So as they come up, I will make sure that each of them understand that it is important that you know, the province doesn't end at Fort St. John, doesn't end at Prince George. You know, it doesn't even end at Fort Nelson, but certainly, you know, the larger group of people are Fort Nelson, and they need to be making a concerted effort to connect with the residents up there, and membership as well. I mean, of course, this is a Right now, it's a leadership within the party. But nonetheless, all of these candidates are potentially the next premier of this province. So it's the bigger picture, the bigger conversation. I think that's important.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Mr. Davies? Very well. I'll thank you, Dan, for your time, and thank Councillor Souls for his eloquence in putting our case forward. And we will give you back the rest of your day. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks very much. And again, please feel free to reach out to Kim. I know I've got some spots available on Friday, and we will. I'd love to connect with you, and we'll go from there. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you, Worship, and we'll see you guys very soon.
Thank you. So councillors, I'll ask for a motion then that the meeting be closed pursuant to section 91C, J, and K of the Community Charter. Moved by Councillor Penny, second by Councillor Souls. All those in favor? Carried. And we are in camera. I'm sorry. Oh, can I get a motion, please, to temporarily adjourn the special regional council meeting? Moved by Councillor Gerwing, second by Councillor Penny. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. And now I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the special regional council meeting. Moved by Councillor Souls, seconded by Councillor Penny. Special regional council meeting is adjourned.